My real issue is that technically both sides, the Bundists and the Anglicans, are currently attacking our system. So then we go to this whole bullshit of lesser of two evils shit, and we're balancing shit on the backs of the poor, or we're eating into our law. The law is not going to move because that's primary in the United States. Um, so that needs to be total, is the word. So when it comes to clicks and tricks and all that other shit, generally, without appealing to God, so to speak, there is a actual and more formidable solution. And so far as terms of policy debates and chicken running around with its head cut off and things of that nature, we already have things in place as to what that is, how to deal with that, who you are, what the constitutionality is, what we are, what the character is, this, that, and the other thing. So I'm not counting constitutionality as an ideal, which is where we all start to get fuzzy, because whenever you count things as ideals, they're either non-existent or you're being emotional, which is not going to work. Period. Period, that's not going to work. Um, I'm telling you the legitimacy of the military involvement, which is still involved because the upper sort of thing, um, we all want to have, we all want to get there, but the middle class has no way to get there, kind of reality, or the lower class doesn't whenever you abolish the middle class, which is our whole slave issue going all the way back down into problems-based society and all that shit. Failure is not an option. Um, Thankfully, we do have something in place which does not fail, which has never failed, which never will fail, which will always be there, which always is, which has been the exact same thing since the dawn of man and will continue to progress the exact same way, going all the way through into heaven and spirit and creation and all of that stuff that we would call existence and deal in. So we don't need to like appeal to some sort of higher power. We don't need to go to like high powered emotions. We don't need to do the weird ass religious referencing. None of that. That's why the shit's illegal in half the places of the world, because it's just total bullshit. And we proved that to the tilt, and we also proved the weird isolationism that you get as a result of basically some weird ass sexual procedures and cover ups and all that sort of thing, which doesn't actually turn out to be women's rights or anything like that, and exactly quite the opposite, and then get you down in the hole that he's in, to quote Bob Dylan. Um, that's not acceptable. So whenever I talk kind of in derogatory terms against particularly Anglicanism, that's the sort of thing that we're talking about. And it needs to be understood that it is on the far side of that barrier. Now, there's some things, um, it is problems-based society, AI. AI is an action, that is what that action is. And so we still have this fucking existential threat, um, commandeering our democracy, deciding our fate against our will, which is the exact complaint of people who would essentially be voting only and exclusively for Bernie Sanders sort of thing as the independent route rather than the socialist route. Socialist route has no problem whatsoever, and I'm telling you exactly what that sort of thing is. Go ahead and progress the fuck out of funding. We need it. How do things get better via that? Now, the issue that I'm looking at is the commandeering and the hijacking of those kinds of funds illegally for those other reasons, and all of that shit needs to be exited. This is not some sort of civilian measure, is what I'm trying to say. And so the way that that's handled is not some sort of democratic bullshit, um, some lark ass fucking barf where we get some weird ass blend that nobody wants, and now we're balancing things on and we're not even getting to where we're going. We're not even getting what we want, so we get screwed. Um, in terms of the law not being present, we get screwed in terms of the funding not only being not present, but then going to the people who we hate and are trying to get away from, and then we get screwed because of all of that tangle that we don't get to where we want to go to. So none of that's going to work. That's your evil triangle basically inversed and then tattooed on your fucking forehead.